The Hall of Cartography was the oldest building in the galaxy. It stood on Prime, the capital world of the galactic Concord. 4,000 species had joined this great union. They had traveled among the stars for 12 million years. They had mapped every corner of the known universe, every corner except one. Ambassador walked through the great hall with slow steps. She was young for only 300 years old. Her skin was made of living crystal that caught the light and threw rainbows on the ancient walls. They were known for their curiosity. They asked questions that others were afraid to ask. This habit had brought to this place today. She stopped before a massive star map that floated in the air. Millions of tiny lights showed the locations of settled worlds, trade routes, and resource stations. But in one area there was nothing. A perfect sphere of blackness sat in the map like a hole in reality. No trade routes passed through it. No stations orbited within it. The only label was written in a language so old that even the translation machine struggled with it. The label said, "The Silence." Had seen this dark zone on every map she had ever studied. She had asked about it many times. The answers were always the same. People would look away. They would change the subject. Sometimes they would simply walk away without speaking. Today, she would not accept silence as an answer. Elder Archivist sat in his chair at the far end of the hall. He was a species that looked like a mixture of stone and flesh. He had worked in this hall for 60,000 years. If anyone knew the truth about the dark zone, it would be him. Approached his desk and placed her hands flat on its surface. "Elder," she said, "I wish to know about the silence." The old did not look up from his work. "There is nothing to know," he said. "It is empty space, uninteresting. You should study something else." "I have checked the records," said. "The zone is centered on a single star, a yellow dwarf called Sol. There is a planet there, the third planet from that star. The records call it Earth." His hand stopped moving. For a long moment he did not breathe. When he finally looked up, saw something she had never seen in his eyes before. She saw fear. "Do not speak that name," whispered. "Do not look for that world. Do not think about it. We do not speak of the inheritors. We do not look upon their world. We move unseen past their borders, and we pray they never notice us." Felt her crystal skin grow cold. "The inheritors, who are they?" Looked around the empty hall as if checking for listeners. Then he leaned close to. "They are called humans," he said. "They live on that small blue world. They have barely left their own planet. They are primitive, weak, short-lived. They die after only 80 or 90 years. "Then why do we fear them?" asked. Closed his eyes. "Because the Concord has existed for 12 million years. We have records going back to the very beginning. And in our oldest records, the quarantine around Earth already existed. We did not create it. We inherited it from those who came before us. The ones who built the first civilizations. They were afraid of that world before we even existed as species." His mind struggled to understand this. The Concord was ancient beyond measure. The idea that something had scared the founders of the Concord was difficult to accept. "There must be records," she said. "Expeditions, studies. Someone must have tried to contact them." Nodded slowly. 17 times, he said. Over the millions of years, 17 civilizations decided they were brave enough or foolish enough to enter the silence. They sent their best ships, their scientists, their strongest warriors. "What happened to them?" "Nothing," said. "That is what happened. Nothing, no distress signals, no wreckage, no bodies. They simply vanished. Every ship, every person, gone, as if they had never existed at all." Stepped back from the desk. Her curiosity burned brighter than her fear. "I want to see the records," she said. "Everything about Earth, everything about the expeditions." Stared at her for a long time. Then he reached into his desk and pulled out a small data crystal. "This is all that remains," he said. "A fragment from the last expedition. It was sent automatically when their ship entered the quarantine zone. After this, there was nothing." Took the crystal and connected it to her personal viewer. The image was broken and full of static. She could see the inside of a ship. Crew members were running. Someone was screaming. The camera shook violently. Then a voice came through the static. It was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes after terror has broken a person's mind completely. "They were waiting," the voice said. "They were waiting, they were waiting." The recording ended. Looked at, the old had turned away. His shoulders were shaking. "What were they waiting for?" asked. "Us," said. "They were waiting for us. They are always waiting. They see everything. They know everything. They move unseen through spaces we cannot understand. And the worst part, Ambassador, is that they do not even know they are doing it." Did not understand these words, but she knew one thing with perfect certainty. She could not let this mystery go. The fear of 4,000 species, passed down for 12 million years, had to have a source, and she would find it. She left the Hall of Cartography as the artificial sun set over Prime. Above her, the stars filled the sky. Somewhere out there, past the light of familiar suns, past the borders of known space, a small blue world circled a yellow star. And on that world something waited. Something that had scared the founders of galactic civilization. Something that had made 17 expeditions disappear without a trace. Something called human. Made her decision. She would travel to the edge of the silence. She would find answers. She would learn why the galaxy moved unseen past one small world. She did not know that her search would reveal a truth darker than she could imagine. A truth that the conquered had hidden for millions of years. A truth about Earth, about humanity, and about the real reason the galaxy was afraid. The secret was not that humans were dangerous. The secret was what humans protected the galaxy from. And the secret was what would happen if humans ever learned the truth about themselves. The journey to Outpost Nix 7 took 3 months. She traveled on cargo ships and private transports. She used false names and paid in untraceable credits. The conquered did not want anyone getting close to the silence. If they knew what she was doing, they would stop her. Outpost Nix 7 floated in the darkness at the very edge of the quarantine zone. It was the closest any conquered station came to Earth. The station was old and worn. Its metal walls were by millions of years of micrometeorite impacts. Only one species was brave enough to staff this lonely place. There were beings with 6 limbs and compound eyes that could see in almost complete darkness. They were patient. They were careful. And they had been watching Earth for 80,000 years. Station commander met at the docking port. He was old even by standards. His exoskeleton had turned gray with age. 3 of his 6 eyes had gone cloudy and blind, but the remaining 3 still held a sharp intelligence. "Ambassador," he said, his voice clicked and buzzed through his translator. "I was told you were coming. I was also told to send you away." "Will you?" asked. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "No," he said. "I have spent 80,000 years watching that world. I am tired of carrying this knowledge alone. Come, I will show you what we have seen." He led her through narrow corridors to the observation center. The room was filled with screens and sensors and recording equipment. Everything pointed in one direction, toward the distant yellow star called Sol, toward Earth. "Look," said, pointing at the main screen. "This is what the humans see when they look at themselves." The screen showed images of human cities, buildings of glass and steel, vehicles moving on roads, people walking, talking, living their ordinary lives. They looked primitive compared to conquered technology. Their spacecraft could barely reach their own moon. They had not yet discovered faster-than-light travel. "They seem harmless," said. "They seem many things," replied, "but look closer." He changed the display to show a graph of radio signals. "Humans broadcast constantly," he said. "Television, radio, communications, normal signals that travel at the speed of light. But sometimes their signals respond to our signals, frequencies that should be impossible for them to detect, frequencies that we use for secret military communications. Felt her skin grow cold. They can hear us. Something Can said, watch this. He showed her another recording. A conquered probe, small and carefully hidden, approaching the quarantine zone. The probe moved closer and closer to Earth. Then, exactly 4.7 light-years from the planet, every system failed at once. The probe went dark. We have sent hundreds of probes, said. Different designs, different technologies, different approaches. They all fail at exactly the same distance. Every single time. Something knows exactly where our probes are. Something stops them. Studied the data. Her scientific mind searched for explanations. Perhaps there is a natural barrier, she said. Some kind of energy field. Shook his head. We thought the same thing, but look at this. He brought up biological data, charts showing the evolution of life on Earth. Earth is what we call a death world, he said. Everything there is trying to kill everything else. The gravity is heavy. The weather is violent. The predators are everywhere. Most intelligent species evolve on peaceful worlds. Humans evolved surrounded by creatures that wanted to eat them. Many species come from difficult worlds, said. Yes, but look at the timeline, pointed at the chart. Earth has experienced 5 mass extinctions, events that killed almost all life on the planet. Each time, life recovered. But the last extinction was only 65 million years ago. The dinosaurs died, and then humans appeared and took over the entire planet in the blink of a geological eye. He turned to face with his 3 good eyes. No species evolves that fast. No species goes from primitive ape to planet-wide dominance in such a short time, unless something is helping them, or unless they are something more than they appear. Sat down in a nearby chair. The information was overwhelming. What do you think they are? Was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I will show you the thing that haunts my dreams, the thing that makes me certain we should never contact Earth. He pulled up a recording. The image was grainy and distorted. It showed a suburban street on Earth, houses with small yards, trees lining the road, and in the middle of the image a human child, a small girl, perhaps 7 years old, sitting on the front steps of her house. This was recorded 200 years ago, said. Our probe was hidden. It was 12 light-years away. It was using technology that humans could not possibly detect. On the screen, the little girl looked up. She looked directly at the camera, directly at the probe that was hiding 12 light-years away, and she smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of something that had been waiting, something that knew it was being watched, something that wanted the watcher to know it knew. Hal whispered. We do not know, said, but that is not the worst thing we have discovered. He brought up one final set of data, brain scans, neural patterns. Humans sleep, he said. They spend 1/3 of their lives in an unconscious state they call sleep. During this time they dream. Their minds create visions and experiences that are not real. Many species sleep, said. Yes, but human brain patterns during sleep are different. They emit frequencies that travel through subspace, frequencies that should not be possible for biological beings to produce. And when we analyze these frequencies, he paused, something in them is aware, something is watching, something is hunting. Before could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the station, rushed to his console. His remaining eyes went wide. Impossible, he said. What is it? Turned to her with a look of pure terror. A human ship, he said. They have just achieved faster-than-light travel. They are leaving their solar system for the first time. Looked at the screen. A small vessel, primitive by conquered standards, was moving through space at impossible speeds. The quarantine zone meant nothing now. The humans were coming. Alert the conquered, she said. Shook his head. The conquered already knows. Everyone knows. Every species in the galaxy just felt something change. The inheritors are awake, and the galaxy will never be the same. through the station's viewport, stared at the distant yellow star. Somewhere out there, humanity was taking its first steps into the wider universe. They did not know that 4,000 species were watching. They did not know that the galaxy had feared them for 12 million years. And they did not know the dark secret hidden in their own dreams. But soon knew everyone would learn the truth, return to Prime as fast as her ship could carry her. The news of human faster-than-light travel had spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Panic was everywhere. Species that had lived in peace for millions of years were suddenly building weapons. Governments were preparing evacuation plans. The Galactic Senate was in emergency session, but was not interested in politics. She needed answers, real answers, and there was only one place in the galaxy where those answers might exist. The forbidden vaults lay beneath the capital city. They had been sealed for 12 million years by the ancient species that had founded the Conquered. They were long extinct now. No one remembered what they looked like. No one knew why they had disappeared. But they had left behind these vaults with one simple instruction: do not open them. Stood before the great doors of the vault. The seals were made of materials that modern science could not identify. Symbols covered the surface in languages that no translator could read. She had spent weeks finding the access codes. She had bribed officials and stolen classified documents. Everything she had done was illegal. If she was caught, she would be executed. She entered the final code. The seals cracked. The doors opened for the first time in 12 million years. Inside, the air was cold and stale. Light cut through the darkness, revealing rows of ancient storage containers, data crystals that used technology beyond anything the modern Conquered could build. And at the center of the vault, a single pedestal with a message waiting to be played. Activated the message. Light filled the room. A figure appeared before her. It was the first one any living being had seen in millions of years. The creature was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to shift between solid and gas. Its eyes burned with ancient knowledge. "If you are watching this," they said, "then you have broken our seals. This means one of two things. Either the Conquered has fallen and you are searching for answers, or the humans have finally left their world and you need to know the truth." Held her breath. "The universe is not what you think it is," they continued. "It is not a vast empty space waiting to be explored. It is a hunting ground, and we are not the hunters." The image changed. It showed stars and galaxies. Then it showed something else. Shapes moving between the stars. Dark shapes that existed in spaces that normal matter could not touch. They called them the Hollow Ones. "The Hollow Ones come from dimensions outside normal spacetime," they explained. "They feed on conscious thought. Every thinking mind in the universe is food to them. They have consumed countless galaxies. Trillions of species have been devoured. We fought them for 10,000 years. We built weapons that could crack planets. We united every intelligent species we could find, and we lost." Watched in horror as the recording showed entire civilizations being consumed. The Hollow Ones did not destroy bodies. They destroyed minds. They ate thoughts and memories and dreams. They left behind empty shells that had once been people. "We were preparing to die," they said. "We had accepted that our extinction was certain, but then we found Earth." The image showed the blue planet, young and wild, covered in primitive life. They had sent probes to study it. What they found changed everything. "The humans were not yet civilized," they explained. "They were primitive creatures, barely more than animals, but their minds were wrong, different. They had evolved as prey on a death world. Every day was a fight for survival. Every night brought predators that wanted to eat them. This constant danger changed their consciousness. Human minds developed in ways we had never seen before. They could perceive things that other species could not. They could see into the dimensions where the Hollow Ones lived, and more than that, they could hunt there." His mind struggled to understand. Hunt how? As if hearing her question, they continued. Humans sleep. They dream. We thought these were simple biological functions. We were wrong. When humans dream, their consciousness leaves normal spacetime. It travels into the dimensions between dimensions, the same dimensions where the hollow ones exist. Every human who has ever lived has spent 1/3 of their existence hunting in the dark. They do not know they are doing it. They think their dreams are just images and feelings. But in reality, they are hunting the things that hunt us all. They are fighting a war they cannot remember when they wake. The image showed a human sleeping. Then it showed what was happening in the deeper dimensions. A human consciousness transformed into something terrible, something with endless teeth and burning eyes, something that chased the hollow ones through the dark spaces between realities, something that ate the things that ate minds. The hollow ones learned to fear humanity, they said. They call humans the endless teeth. They call Earth the nightmare world. They will not go near that system. They will not touch that region of space, because the humans hunt them. The humans kill them. The humans eat them. We realized that humanity was not a species. Humanity was a weapon, a natural defense that the universe itself had created. As long as humans existed, as long as they slept and dreamed, the hollow ones would stay away. This image flickered. We made a decision. We would protect humanity. We would quarantine their world. We would never make contact because we discovered something terrible. The humans do not know what they are. They hunt on instinct. They fight without awareness. This is what makes them effective. But if they ever learn the truth, if they ever become aware of their power, they will not stop at defending. They will not be satisfied with protecting their small corner of the galaxy. They will hunt. They will pursue the hollow ones across every dimension. They will become something the universe has never seen before. Do not tell them. Do not wake them to the truth. Let them sleep. Let them dream. Let them protect us without knowing. Because if humanity ever truly awakens, they may save the galaxy, or they may become something even the hollow ones would fear. The message ended. The light faded, stood alone in the dark vault. She understood now. She understood why the galaxy feared Earth. She understood why 17 expeditions had vanished. The humans had not destroyed those ships with weapons or armies. The humans had simply dreamed about them. And in those dreams, on battlefields that existed outside of normal space, the intruders had been hunted. The conquered had not been protecting itself from humanity. The conquered had been protected by humanity. For 12 million years, human dreams had kept the hollow ones away. And now the humans were leaving their world. They were entering the wider galaxy. They would meet other species. They would learn about the conquered. And eventually, someone would have to decide whether to tell them the truth. Walked out of the vault as the weight of this knowledge pressed down on her. Above her, the stars shone bright and peaceful. But she knew now what lurked in the darkness between those stars. She knew what was watching, what was waiting, what was hungry. And she knew that humanity was the only thing standing between the galaxy and extinction. The only question was what would happen when the humans woke up. The human ship arrived at the borders of conquered space on what humans called a Tuesday. It was a small vessel by galactic standards. Simple metal construction. Basic propulsion systems, primitive weapons that could barely scratch a conquered cargo freighter, but every species in the galaxy watched its approach with terror. The Galactic Senate had been in emergency session for 3 weeks. 4,000 species argued and debated and screamed at each other. Some wanted to destroy the human ship immediately. Others wanted to flee to the far edges of the universe. A few suggested that maybe, just maybe, they should try talking to the humans first. Stood before the Senate and volunteered to make first contact. The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to the young ambassador with the crystal skin. "You are asking to die," said Senator of the. "No one who approaches the humans survives." "The humans are in our space now," replied. "We can hide or we can learn. I choose to learn. I have studied them more than anyone. I understand them better than anyone. Let me try." The Senate voted. It was close, but in the end they agreed. Would be the first conquered citizen to speak with a human face to face. She boarded a diplomatic shuttle and flew toward the. As she approached, she could see humans moving behind the windows. They looked so small, so fragile, so ordinary. It was hard to believe that these creatures had scared the galaxy for 12 million years. The shuttle docked, the airlock opened, and stepped onto a human ship. A woman was waiting for her. She was middle-aged by human standards, with gray in her brown hair and lines on her face. She wore a simple uniform with the word Captain on it. Her name tag said Vance. "Welcome aboard the," Captain Vance said. She smiled warmly. "We didn't expect to meet anyone out here. This is incredible. I'm sorry if we seem nervous. You're the first aliens we've ever met." Studied the human carefully. She looked for signs of the terrible power they had described. She saw nothing, just a tired woman who was trying to be polite. "I am ambassador of the," she said. "I represent the Galactic Conquered, 4,000 species who have traveled among the stars for millions of years." His eyes went wide. 4,000 species, millions of years. We had no idea. We thought. Well, we hoped we weren't alone, but this is beyond anything we imagined. They talked for hours, learned that humans had discovered faster-than-light travel by accident. A scientist named Doctor had been experimenting with exotic matter when her equipment had opened a hole in spacetime. Within a year, humans had built the to explore. The humans knew nothing about the Hollow Ones. They knew nothing about their own sleeping minds. They asked why no one had ever contacted them before, made vague excuses about quarantine protocols and primitive species protection laws, seemed to accept these explanations. But as they talked, noticed something strange. The human crew watched her with a particular intensity. Their eyes tracked her movements constantly. Even when they smiled and laughed, something behind those eyes remained alert, hunting. She was about to comment on this when every alarm on the ship began to scream. "What's happening?" demanded, rushing to the bridge. Followed, through the main viewport, she saw something that froze her blood. The sky was tearing open. A rift had appeared in normal space. Something dark was pushing through, something massive, something hungry. A Hollow One. Had never seen one in real life. No living member of the Conquered had. They existed only in ancient records and nightmares, but she recognized it immediately. A shape that was not a shape, darkness that moved with purpose, eyes that were not eyes but which saw everything. It had sensed the massive gathering of conscious minds at the Senate. It had come to feed. Across the Conquered, billions of beings began to scream. The Hollow One's presence touched every mind within 1,000 light years, felt her thoughts beginning to blur, her memories starting to fade. The creature was hungry. The creature was feeding. Then Captain Vance stopped moving. Her eyes went distant. Her body became perfectly still. Around the bridge, every human crew member did the same thing. They stopped talking. They stopped breathing. They stood like statues, frozen in place. Watched in confusion and fear. "Captain Vance, what's happening?" Did not respond. Her eyes were open but empty. Wherever her mind had gone, it was not here anymore. Then slowly looked up at the rift in the sky, at the Hollow One pushing through, and she smiled. It was the same smile had seen on the recording from Outpost Nix 7. The smile of the little girl who had looked at a camera 12 light years away. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of something that had been waiting for this moment. "We see you," said softly. Every human's eyes turned black. Not closed, not dark, black, as if something infinite was looking out through them. They did not move. They did not breathe, but somewhere else in dimensions that could not perceive they were running. The Hollow One screamed. Had not known that such creatures could scream. The sound was not a sound. It was a psychic wave that shook reality itself. The creature was afraid. The creature was in pain. The creature was being hunted. Through the viewport watched as the Hollow One thrashed and twisted. Dark shapes moved around it in dimensions she could barely see. Human shapes, thousands of them, millions, every sleeping human on Earth, every dreaming mind across the planet. They had all woken to the threat. They had all joined the hunt. The Hollow One tried to flee. The rift began to close as it pulled itself back to its home dimension, but the humans followed. Their minds pursued the creature through spaces that no other species could enter. They chased it with endless hunger, with endless teeth. The rift slammed shut. The Hollow One was gone, not banished, not driven away. Consumed. On the bridge of the human crew suddenly gasped and stumbled. Their eyes returned to normal. They looked around in confusion, blinking as if waking from a deep sleep. What happened?" asked. She rubbed her eyes and shook her head. "I had the strangest dream. I was running through a dark place chasing something, I can't remember what." Stared at her, at all of them, these fragile primitive creatures who had just destroyed something that had eaten civilizations. "Nothing," heard herself say. "Nothing happened. We should continue our conversation." But as she spoke, she knew that everything had changed. She had seen the truth with her own eyes. Humanity was not a primitive species taking its first steps into the galaxy. Humanity was the galaxy's immune system. Humanity was the darkness that the darkness feared. And they did not even know it. The attack of the Hollow One changed everything. For the first time in recorded history, every species in the Conquered had felt true fear. Not fear of each other, not fear of war or famine or natural disaster. Fear of being erased. Fear of having their minds devoured by something from beyond reality. And then they had felt something else. They had felt the humans wake up. They had felt millions of human minds turn toward the threat like predators hearing prey. They had felt the Hollow One die. The Galactic Senate met again. This time there was no panic, only silence. 4,000 species sat in the great chamber and tried to understand what they had witnessed. Stood before them once more. She told them what she had learned in the Forbidden Vaults. She told them about the war with the Hollow Ones, about humanity's true nature. The senators listened without interruption. When she finished, no one spoke for a long time. Finally, Senator rose from his seat. "So the humans are not our enemies," he said slowly. "They are our protectors. They have been guarding the galaxy for millions of years without even knowing it." "Yes," said. "But they warned us never to tell them the truth. They said that if humans ever became aware of their power, they might become something even worse than the Hollow Ones." Nodded. "That is what the warning said." Senator of the spoke next. "The humans are leaving their world now. They are exploring the galaxy. Eventually they will learn the truth. Someone will tell them, or they will discover it themselves. We cannot keep this secret forever." "Then we must destroy them," said Senator of one of his own people. "Before they become aware, before they become dangerous, we must strike now while they are still primitive." The chamber erupted in argument. Species shouted at each other. Threats were made. Alliances formed and broke apart in moments. Watched the chaos and felt a deep sadness. After 12 million years of peace, the Conquered was tearing itself apart because of one small species on one small world. She thought about Captain Vance, about her warm smile and curious questions, about the way she had cared for her crew. The humans were not monsters. They were not weapons. They were people. Strange people, dangerous people, but people. When the Senate finally calmed down, made a request. She asked to return to She asked for permission to talk to Captain Vance one more time. The Senate agreed, though they could not say why. Perhaps they were curious. Perhaps they were afraid. Perhaps they simply did not know what else to do. Found Vance alone in the observation deck of the human captain was staring out at the stars. Her face was troubled. "Ambassador," said without turning around, "I've been waiting for you." Walked to stand beside her. "How did you know I was coming?" Smiled sadly. "I didn't know, I just felt it. The same way I've felt a lot of things lately. Ever since we left Earth, I've been having these dreams. Strange dreams. I see darkness and teeth and things running. I wake up exhausted like I've been fighting all night. She turned to face. Your people are afraid of us. I can see it in their eyes. Even you, Ambassador. You hide it well, but I can tell. What are we? What do you know about us that we don't know about ourselves? Hesitated. The had warned against this. 12 million years of protection depended on humanity staying ignorant. If she told the truth, she might be dooming the galaxy. But she looked at this woman. This tired, confused, curious woman who had spent her life exploring because she wanted to understand, and made her decision. She told everything. She told her about thee and the Hollow Ones. She told her about the war that had lasted 10,000 years. She told her about the quarantine around Earth and the 17 expeditions that had vanished. She told her about human dreams and sleeping minds and the endless hunt in dimensions beyond normal space. Listened without speaking. Her face showed no emotion. When finished, the human captain was quiet for a long time. So every night, said slowly, every time I close my eyes and sleep, I'm actually hunting things in another dimension. Things that eat minds. Things that want to devour the galaxy. Yes. And I've been doing this my whole life. Every human has been doing this since the beginning of our species. Yes. And we never knew. We just thought we were dreaming about nonsense, about running and chasing and teeth in the dark. Yes. Turned back to the viewport, the stars reflected in her eyes. For a moment, saw something ancient in those eyes, something that had been hunting in the dark since before the conquered existed. Then smiled, not the predator's smile, something sadder, something wiser. We always knew something was out there in the dark, she said. Every human has felt it. When we're alone at night, when we feel eyes watching us from shadows, we thought we were being paranoid. We thought our fear was irrational. She turned back to, but we were right. There was something out there. We just didn't know it was afraid of us. Felt a strange emotion, relief perhaps or hope. What will you do now, she asked, now that you know the truth? Was quiet for a moment. Then she straightened her shoulders. Her eyes became clear and focused. The tired captain was gone. In her place stood something older, something that had been waiting to wake up. I'm going to go home, said. I'm going to tell my people the truth, and then we're going to have a choice to make. What choice? We can keep sleeping, keep dreaming, keep hunting on instinct without awareness. We can protect the galaxy the way we always have, unconsciously, unknowingly, safely. Looked out at the stars, millions of points of light, trillions of beings, a galaxy that had feared humanity for 12 million years, a galaxy that had been protected by human dreams without ever saying thank you. Or said, we can wake up. 3 months later, Captain Vance returned to Earth. She carried a message from the Galactic Conquered, an invitation to join, an offer of trade and technology and friendship. She also carried the truth. That night, as the news spread across the planet, 3 billion humans went asleep. But this time was different. This time, they knew what they were doing. This time, they remembered their dreams when they woke up. And across the dark spaces between dimensions, the Hollow Ones felt something change. The sleeping predators that had hunted them for millions of years were waking up. The instinctive attacks were becoming deliberate. The unconscious defense was becoming a conscious hunt. For the first time in 4 million years, the Hollow Ones did not move closer to the light. They did not reach toward the warm glow of conscious minds. They ran. In the great darkness between galaxies, in the cold spaces where nothing should exist, the oldest and most terrible of the Hollow Ones gathered. They had consumed civilizations beyond counting. They had feasted on the minds of trillions. They had feared nothing in the universe. Until now. Because humanity was awake. And humanity was hungry. And the endless teeth had finally learned to smile.